Hello, I'm Jenna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. So, welcome to the fourth episode of Distress This Book. As we know, Create This Book was created by Mariah Elizabeth, but here at the Crafty Corner, we have been giving it the Tim Holtz twist. So, let's dive right in and distress this book. Okay, let's go ahead and open up this book. And let's see what our art prompts are going to be today. Oh, first, we are going to create a pocket. So to do this, the instructions are telling me that we need scissors. We're going to be tearing this page out of the book, and then we're going to be cutting out the pocket and attaching it to the next page. So very carefully, we are ripping out this pocket page. Okay, so we're going to take our tonic Tim Holtz snips and we are going to cut out the pocket. On the side, I have some Ranger Distress Collage medium that we will be using to adhese the pocket to our page. But first, let's add a little bit of paint to the pocket. So I'm going to be using up some of this chipped sapphire distress paint, and I'm just going to grab a paintbrush. This is one of the Distress Collage medium brushes, and we're just going to add some of that lovely blue color to the pocket. Okay, just spreading that around, making sure we have good coverage. I'm being pretty careful. The paper is very thin, so we can't really overdo it with the water and the paint, or we're going to get some serious ripping. Okay, so the pocket is painted. Now we just need to let it dry. Next, we're going to be adding some stars. This is from the Tim Holtz Shifter Stencil Stars, and we're going to be adding some of the stars with a little bit of Distress Tarnished Brass paint. And to apply it, I'm just grabbing a chunk of sponge. We're going to very carefully dab this on through the stencil. Just tapping here and there to make sure that we get the paint. And as soon as I'm done applying the paint through the stencil, I will need to immediately wash the stencil. Otherwise, we're going to have a painted stencil afterwards. So let's just take that sponge and dab the paint through those stars. I like that. This is going to make a fun pocket. Okay, a little bit more paint, a couple more stars. That is looking pretty done. So we've got our pocket, we've got our stars. Now this needs to dry. Now that our pocket is dry, it is time to cut it out. So we're just going to cut along the solid black line, and that will leave us with our pocket. Now, of course, if we have a pocket, then we probably are going to want to put something in the pocket. But we'll worry about that once we have this all cut out. Once I'm done cutting, I'm going to be gluing this pocket down with a bit of Collage medium to our page. Okay, there's the pocket. There's some scraps that can go into recycling. And yep, the next thing is to put something in the pocket. But we'll worry about that after the pocket is on the page. Opening up some Distress Collage medium, and I'm just taking a finger and I'm going to dab a little bit of that glue right around the edge of the pocket, and then we will attach that to the page. So we're going around the edges except for that one top edge, because that's going to be where we add something to that pocket. All right, sticking that down directly into the book. All right, a little bit of glue seepage on the side, not a big deal. We'll just wipe that up and dab it away. Okay, not bad. Just dabbing a little bit of glue over the top to make sure that we've got a nice, good seal on the page. So I've been pondering exactly what are we going to put in this pocket. Well, the size 5 tags that we have from the Tim Holtz Mixed Media Ranger line look like they're going to be exactly the right size to fit into that pocket. So it looks like our number 5 tag is going to fit perfectly into that pocket. Now let's go ahead and start altering this tag. So for the tag, we're going to be using some of the Distress Oxide Spray Stain, Wilted Violet, and we're going to be using the Distress Stain Mermaid Lagoon. So I'm going to spritz the tag first with some water, and then we're going to add our spray stains. Doing just a little bit of quick cleanup on the table so I don't have any overspill splatter. And let's start with some of that Mermaid Lagoon. We'll give this a good foundation. Okay, next let's add a dash of the Wilted Violet. So working on that wet background, we're going to see some oxidation pretty quickly, which is just what I'm going for. All right, glow spritz here and there. Okay, let's go ahead and put the rest of this on fast forward. There we go. Here is our finished background on the tag, and now we're going to add some floral outlines. So just adding some ink to this. We've got some Distress Archival Black Soot, and we're going to take that and stamp it down with good firm pressure. This is going to give us some visual interest in the background of our tag. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add some Collage medium so that we can start adding some elements to our tag. Now in the background, I decided that I was going to pull some of the Tim Holtz ephemera from the set palette, and this is going to give us a little bit more visual interest. All right, so we're going to stick the bird down there, and then we're going to pull in a few more pieces. So I've got this lovely scallop trim. This is from a Sizzix Impresslet. And this was glazed with some cracked pistachio and then smudged with some distressed walnut stain crayon. Just add a bit of Collage medium and stick that to the bottom. That'll give us a nice anchor point. Okay, let's see. What are we going to add next? So I've got these really cool wings. And again, these are also from a Sizzix Impresslet. And this is going to look awesome behind that die cut heart we have. So I'm just popping this up on some foam squares so that we'll have a little bit of dimension. Now just dabbing a bit of Collage medium on the wings and adding another embossed heart. This was embossed with the Botanical 3D folder as well as some fired brick and a dash of Distress Crayon walnut stain. And then we just need to add a sentiment. The sentiment is from the Tim Holtz label stickers, and we're just cutting that in 2 pieces so it's going to fit nicely onto the heart. There we go. Just repositioning things a little bit to make sure our sentiment is neatly lined up, and now we have a completed tag. With our completed tag, we can now add this to the pocket that we created earlier. I'm absolutely loving all of the textural detail on this tag, and now our pocket has something fun to place in it. So we'll just take that and slide it into our pocket. There we go. That would complete our first prompt of the day. Let's go ahead and see what our next prompt looks like. All right, turning the page, and what do we have? Create a fabric page. Attach a piece of fabric or bits of fabric to this page. Perfect. Well, we've got quite a bit of fabric. I've got all sorts of scraps left over from when I created a Tim Holtz quilt, and I have some other smaller pieces of scrap hanging around. So we're going to be attaching all of these cloth scraps with some Collage medium. We've got some fabric tape. That's going to be self-adhesive. That'll be nice and easy. Let's see, what else do I have here? We've got some of the fabric from the line Abandoned. Absolutely love the colors on this. They are just so vibrant. Definitely a good piece. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we've got a scrap from Alchemy. This is the black alcohol inky looking one. That'll be a good one to add. And let's see, that's a little bit more of the Abandoned. Over here, now we're getting into some of the newer stuff. This is some of the canvas from one of the recent Tim Holtz fabric releases. And this one is one of the map pieces. Then from that same launch, I also got some of the fabric with the crows on it. I think that's my absolute favorite from this year's fabric launch. It's very cool. So much detail, and crows and ravens right now are totally my jam. So this is another scrap, and this is also from the new canvas set that was brought out this year. And this is another scrap that's from when I made curtains, and that's leftover scraps from the curtains that I was working on. Okay, so we're just going to take our collage medium and we're going to spread this out on the paper as soon as I've cut down some of these pieces of fabric. We're going to do like a rough spread so I can kind of see where I want to put things down, and then we will start gluing things. Right now we're just going to kind of roughly map everything out. For cutting, I'm using some of the Tonic Tim Holtz haberdashery scissors. I absolutely love these for fabric cutting. They cut so smoothly through fabrics. They're 100% worth it to have in the collection. Okay, so we're just going to pull in the bits and pieces of scrap. I'm just going to lay things out and see how it looks and see how much space we've got to play with. Some of these scraps are a bit large and others of them are kind of small. But you know what? That's okay. We can have some overlap going on, and I'm just kind of thinking right now we're going to be doing a fabric sort of collage. So I'm just going to keep arranging these fabric pieces and see what sort of pattern I look like. While I do that, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward, and then we can start gluing down all these fun pieces. Here is our completed fabric collage page. That is not bad. I love how we were able to integrate all of the scraps. Now let's go ahead and move over here. We're now going to be creating color combinations. And to do that, I'm pulling in my Distress Reinker palette. And we're going to be playing with a whole bunch of different colors on watercolor paper. And this is the watercolor paper by Ranger and Tim Holtz. So this is going to be pretty simple. I've got a large chunky brush, and I've got two things of water, one for cleaning my brush and one for dipping. And we're just going to open up the palette, and we're turning it up so we've got the smoothie side up, and I'm loading up that brush. And then I'm just going to make some swatches of water on the cardstock. When I drip the ink into there, it's going to start wicking, and that's when we're going to see some of the color combinations that I'm going to be putting together. So I'm starting out with a dash of Mermaid Lagoon, rinsing out the brush pretty thoroughly, and then we're going to go in with 3 different colors to go with it. Let's see. We are going to be using some picked raspberry. I'm loving the way the ink is just kind of floating when it's directly placed into water like that. It's neat. Okay, and next we're going to have some mustard seed. Just letting that edge in very gently. We're getting a nice gradient in the center. Next I'm going to be pulling in a little bit of purple, and here we have a little bit of wilted violet. That's going to mingle very nicely with the Mermaid Lagoon. Okay, that is looking pretty good. And we're going to wash our brush out really, really well, and then back to the clean water to dip and add some more paint swatch areas. So the wet on wet technique like in watercoloring, works beautifully with distress inks. It allows them to intermingle and you get those beautiful little gradients in between. Okay, for the next set of colors, we are going to be starting with some carved pumpkin. We're just going to put down a small layer of that right into our water puddle, and then we're going to bring in some other colors. For the other colors that I'm going to be using today, we are going to be adding in some Twisted Citron. Definitely not an obvious color match, but for Halloween colors together, they totally work. Then we're going to want to go over to that middle swatch, and we're going to have a bit of Abandoned Coral. It's a very strong color. And then I'm going to be adding in a bit of Salty Ocean. And as you can see at the top, our colors are still intermingling together. I haven't dried them with the heat tool, so we're still getting some really interesting color play happening. So now we're making our last 3 water splats, and then we're going to go in with some more ink. For our next ink color, we're going to be going in with some Villainous Potion. This is a nice, deep, rich purple. And for our next add-on, we're going to be using a bit of Abandoned Coral. That's giving a nice color blend. And then we're going to go in with a little bit of Prize Ribbon. Complementary colors, that's not bad. And the last color combination that we're going to be using will be with a dash of Peacock Feathers. And as you can see, the other swatches are still melding and mingling. I absolutely love this effect of letting the paint swatches air dry naturally. It definitely gives a different feel as opposed to using a heat tool to do the drying fast. Here are our completed color combinations. I just love the look of these. That was so fun playing on with different color combinations and just seeing what sort of blends and mixes we could get. Okay, let's go back and take a look at what we worked on today. For our first prompt, we created a pocket by tearing out a page, and then we created a tag to go right into that pocket. Definitely fun, because pockets need things. And after that, we were playing with some of the Tim Holtz fabrics, and we were able to make this really fun collage. I love all the different colors and the different types of fabric that we have here. Definitely fun, and I'm hoping to make other fabric projects at a later date. And our last category, we did some color swatching and matching. We've got all these color combos that we tried out here. Definitely fun, and we got some really interesting results going on. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for another episode of Distress This Book. If you'd like to see more in the series, there will be a few links down in the description box to the first couple of episodes, and I will be creating a little playlist for this as well. So thank you so much for being here and tuning in, and until next time, happy crafting!